Well, I have officially watched 50 movies in quarantine.
1, 2, 3, funk it.
Hi, my name is Maddie. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm bringing you part 3 to the reviewing all the movies I've been watching while in quarantine mini-series. You all have really seemed to like the first 2 videos, and I'm back with 16 more movies that I have watched, rounding out a full 50 movies in quarantine. This video is going to work very similarly to the other 2 parts, meaning I will list the title of the movie, my rating out of 10, and a brief summary of the movie so you can decide whether or not it's something you're interested in watching. However, a little something different is most of the movies on this list were selected by me, so I cannot hide under my friends' suggestions anymore. However, if it was suggested to me, I'll be sure to point it out, so if you don't like it, again, you can't attack me for that bad choice. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with the video. Number 1 is Strangelove, which I give a 7 out of 10. This is about a boy in high school who is struggling to figure out his sexuality, I guess is a good way to put it. He has a girlfriend, but throughout a series of events, he is wondering whether or not he is actually straight, and it was kind of an interesting coming of age film would be the genre I would classify it as. I don't know, just nothing about it really made it a super good movie to me, but I didn't mind watching it. It was still entertaining. Number 2 is Never Been Kissed, which I give a 6 out of 10. I just got really bored with this movie. This does star Drew Barrymore, which is one of my favorite songs ever by Bryce Vine. This is about a woman who's a reporter, and she goes back to high school, and evidently high school wasn't the best experience for her, and it continues to not be a super good experience for her. It is about her navigating these social paths, and again, I just found it boring. Number 3 is Say Anything, which I give an 8 out of 10. This is considered to be a pretty classic movie. It's the one with the guy with the big boombox. It's about this girl who is the valedictorian, and she's all academics, nothing else, and this guy decides to take a chance and ask her out, and it kind of details their relationship. Her dad does not want her to get involved with it because he thinks that'll interfere with her academics, but then her dad gets involved with this big scandal. It's a rom-com, I guess, so you can see where the ending goes. Number 4 is Cant Buy Me Love, which I give a 10 out of 10. In this movie, a really popular girl decides to get some designer clothes out of her mom's closet and wear them to a party. Then at the party, stuff gets spilled on it, and she goes to the mall the next day to try and get it fixed, and the guy was like, we can't fix this. In a neighboring store, this guy who's had a crush on this girl for the longest time is about to buy a telescope, but he runs over and buys her the new outfit in exchange for her pretending to date him so he can become popular. Then of course he does become popular, but in the end he gets exposed. And number 5 is She's All That, which I give an 8 out of 10. This one was fairly entertaining. It is about a not so popular high school girl, and a guy says that he can turn any girl into the prom queen, and his group of friends select the not so popular girl for him to turn into the prom queen. And you know, the typical plot, they start hanging out, he actually falls for her, then at the end he gets exposed. It was a very basic plot, but still decently entertaining. Number 6 is Pretty in Pink, which I give a 6 out of 10. Again, I just thought it was not the most entertaining. It's about a girl in high school. Her family is not super rich, and this guy is pretty popular and has a lot of money, and he starts coming around and they start falling for each other. But then she becomes concerned that money is going to be a factor. At this point in time in the movie, said the 2 socioeconomic classes didn't really mesh well together, so obviously she would be concerned, but in the end, rom-com, you can see where it goes. Number 7, this one was not my selection. It is called Booksellers, and I give it a 5 out of 10. This one is kind of similar to Maiden Trip in my last movie review, in the fact that it's not a traditional movie, it's more of a documentary style movie. This details interesting booksellers and rare books throughout the world. I would say, again, if you're looking for something interesting to watch that's a bit different and you're a book nerd, you would find it interesting. If nothing about the realm of rare books or documentaries interests you, then you would find it absolutely miserable. But it was a nice switch up from the traditional stuff. Next is the Avengers, which of course it's Marvel. I give it a 10 out of 10. And this was the first time that all of the Avengers were meeting up to team up against the bad guy. And you know how it is, the big things start coming out from the sky and they all have to work together to defeat the source and suck them all back up into the sky. It was a very traditional superhero story plot, but I'm a sucker for it, so I loved it. Next up is Iron Man 3, which I give a 10 out of 10, and I just had to quickly re-google this because I completely forgot what happened. But basically, this is the culminating Iron Man movie. The villain is the Mandarin, and Tony has become very reliant on his suits to where like it's not just a backup for him, like it's kind of overtaken his life. The Mandarin takes that away from him in a sense, and he has to save Pepper. I like this one okay, but I do think the Iron Man movies got worse as they went on. So if you're looking for an Iron Man movie, I would recommend the first one. Number 10 is Thor Dark World, which I also give a 10 out of 10. If you're unfamiliar with the whole Thor setting, it is based off of Norse mythology, which is quite interesting. I absolutely love mythology. And Thor is from Asgard, which is one of the 9 realms. The 9 realms are all centered around this tree and they move around, and at certain points they all line up. So in this movie, all of the worlds are going to be lining up, and the bad guys are from the Dark World and they want to lock this in place. So stop the rotation and lock the realms in place so they're all stacked up and completely take over all of them. So they move their little ship in, and it's really big, like it's going up through all of the realms, and it's bad. They're about to overtake everything, but you know, Thor comes in with his hammer and bam. Number 11 is Nick and Norah's Infinite Playlist, which I give a 9 out of 10. This is about a guy who was dating the popular girl at school and she dumps him. The popular girl's name is Tris, and she and Norah and Nora's friend Caroline, I believe, are all in a friend group together. However, you can tell Norah does not really like Tris, and Norah is always getting the mixtapes that Nick was making for Tris because Tris never wanted them and Norah really loved them. And one night they all find themselves at this club. Norah goes over to Nick to have him pretend to be her boyfriend to get Tris off of her back, but she didn't realize that Nick was Tris's boyfriend. Like, she did not put 2 and 2 together. And then Caroline goes missing, and Nick and his friends plus Norah go all around the city trying to find Caroline, and rom-com in boom, you can guess. Number 12 is Guardians of the Galaxy, which I give a 9 out of 10. I know, very surprising, a Marvel movie that's not a 10 out of 10 for me. I guess I didn't really vibe with it as much as the other Marvel movies. In this movie, there is Peter, the Raccoon, Groot, all of those guys, and they are all chasing after this orb, and for most of the movie you're not really sure what the orb does, but then at the end you find out the Infinity Stones, you know, Thanos, Endgame, all that stuff. Number 13 was not necessarily my pick. Basically, my dad made a list with a few movies on it and I got to pick from that. It is Naked Gun. I give it a 6 out of 10. It was okay. Like, there are some funny parts in it. It's definitely under the comedy genre. However, it is a bit of an older movie, and I feel like my dad just hypes up all of his movies to be so funny, and then when I watch them I have such high expectations they don't really meet up to it. So if you go in with no expectations at all, then you might find it pretty fun. Number 14 is Avengers Age of Ultron, which I give a 10 out of 10. One thing that I really liked about this movie was the fact that it had more of a mental battle aspect rather than just physical. Of course, it's a Marvel movie, so there is plenty of physical battle, but they added in the mental element, which I thought was pretty interesting. Number 15 is Edge of 17, which I give a 10 out of 10. I really liked this movie a lot because it kind of reminded me of 13 Reasons Why, but in movie form, and the girl didn't actually kill herself. But it starts off with a girl walking in, sitting down at a desk and telling her teacher that she wanted to kill herself, and then it kind of details how she got to that point, and then things at the end are resolved. And I like how it was able to provide an entertaining movie while talking about deeper issues. That's something that I really like, I guess, in TV shows and movies, is when they can entertain you but still talk about deep subject matter. Number 16 is A Walk to Remember, which I give a 8 out of 10. I liked this movie alright. It was pretty entertaining, but it was just too depressing. If it hadn't been as depressing, I probably would have given it a 10 out of 10 because it would have been good. But I don't vibe with depressing endings, and it can't get much more depressing than that ending. Basically, it's about this girl who is in high school and she's not popular, and this popular guy realizes that he's a jerk and needs to change, and they start hanging out and he starts falling for her, and then she's like never really fully on board, but then they get together, and then the bomb is dropped, and I don't want to spoil it because it came out of nowhere. That's going to be all for today's video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below more movie suggestions. I'm almost out of the ones on my list. I need more. Be sure that you're subscribed and have the bell turned on, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.
It's not about personality matrixels and charts. It's all about the bumps in your heart.